Hello. Today I'm going to talk about whether it's worth doing a part time PhD while you are working. I'm contemplating doing a part time PhD in finance for some time now already, and I'm thinking about it a bit seriously over the last few weeks, and even I'm exploring opportunities in this area. So I thought of making a video, and based on my own research in the last few weeks, but also what's what I've heard from people who have advised me on this. People who are more senior to me. Uh, uh, you know, there's no single answer to this question, so I'll elaborate a bit, and it'll take some time. But some people it may be really useful, but for some others it may be completely useless. So it all depends as to why you're doing or why you want to do a PhD part time, right? If you think that it's going to enhance your CV a lot, you probably are not in the right path. You probably will be disappointed. If you really want to have good weightage on your CV, then prefer certifications like CFA, or try to work at banks or asset management firms, or companies which are well regarded in the industry. That will enhance your CV more compared to having a part-time PhD. Even from a good university, a part-time PhD won't enhance your CV a lot, right? Purely from a signaling point of view. Obviously, you will learn a lot. You will gain knowledge, and that's going to happen. Then going to useful. But just having a PhD next to your name is not going to help you a lot advancing in your career, right? At least I have never come across anyone who has advanced in his career because he has got a PhD, right? If you have a full-time PhD, right? If you have done PhD full-time for 4 or 5 years, then in some career, especially in the quant finance space, maybe you'll have some sort of an advantage over people who haven't done PhD. Not in all areas of quant finance, but certainly in some areas. But if you're doing a part-time PhD, first of all, a lot of people don't consider part-time PhD to be equivalent of a full-time PhD. That's the first thing. The second thing is that while you are doing part-time PhD, you were working, right? So you won't be able to finish it in at least 4, 5, 6 years time, and by that time you probably are in your mid 30 or already in 40, right? So you're already a mid-career professional, right? And for mid-career professionals, what's important is that your work experience and the connections, the network that you have, and less about your educational qualification, right? Beyond a point, right? Maybe for the first 5, 10 years in your professional career, you will be asked about your qualifications, certifications, degrees, and so on. But beyond that, uh, the certifications or the educational qualification will matter much less, right? And it can also be very, very challenging to finish a part-time PhD while you are working. It can be very, very challenging, right? Especially in some countries. If you are in US or in UK, where the work-life balance is not necessarily very good, devoting time to studies next to your job can be extremely challenging. And if you have a family with kids, that's even more difficult, right? But there are people actually who have managed to complete a PhD while working. I at least know some people. I at least know, yeah, a couple of them. Not a lot, but I know a few who have completed a PhD in economics or finance while working full time, right? Do I see that as some sort of a help towards advancing the career? I don't think so. In fact, people who have who do two things, they actually a bit distracted, and oftentimes in order to do something on the side, you're sacrificing a lot on your main job, right? Imagine you get a promotion and you have higher responsibility and you are still doing your PhD on part-time basis. Managing both can be extremely difficult, so you have to leave one. And some people leave actually the promotion in order to finish the PhD and wait for the PhD to first be first over, and then look for promotion, and by the time it is already a bit too late, right? So you have to know as to why you are doing a PhD, why you want to do the PhD on a part-time basis. If you really are keen on a career in academia, then quit your job, do a full-time PhD, especially if you're young. If you're still in your mid-20s and you have few years in your hand, you're not, you know, you are not interested to have a family, have kids soon, then you could think of doing a full-time PhD. But part-time PhD can be extremely challenging. Having said that, why I am interested in doing a part-time PhD? For a variety of reasons. First, I do have interest in the field of finance, financial economics. Some areas of financial economics, not in all areas. And I thought, okay, maybe if I do a PhD, I'll read a lot, and that would, because I anyway read, so that won't be too big a change for me. That's first thing. The second thing is that um, PhD, whatever maybe the type of PhD you have, will at least give you an opportunity um, to, let's say, teach at different places, right? At some point in my career, not now, maybe after 50, after I become 55, 60, maybe I may want to, teach part time at universities. In fact, I can do that right now also without having a PhD. But having a PhD will help actually, because you would have already gained some educational skills that are required to teach at universities, right? You can obviously teach online. I know for that you don't need a PhD, but to teach at universities, you need a PhD, right? So that won't be my main job for now. But at some point, maybe at the time around the time I think about retirement, I can switch from a career in industry to a career in academia. Right. So that's one motivation. The second motivation is that I strongly believe that you should keep yourself a bit busy in whatever way. I don't have many hobbies outside of reading and writing and learning a bit. So I thought, okay, why don't I use my time instead of wasting time in watching videos and entertainment videos? Maybe I can devote some time towards writing a thesis. That's second motivation. Third motivation is, I had a professor in university at that time, right? When I was a student, he was, I think, 65. Now he probably is close to 80. And he had a bypass surgery and he's still working actually. He's still writing microeconomic research reports uh, for a company where he's currently working. He used to be a professor. So one good thing with having a PhD in economics or finance is that you'll always get some work, right? Because it's not a physical intensive work. It's not a job like a job of a software engineer where you have to sit in front of a computer and do coding for 10 hours, right? It's a more intellectual sort of a job where, I mean, coding job is also intellectual job, but it's just that it's a job where you have to think a lot, and right. So you can do such a job at any age actually. Even at the age of 75 or 80, you probably are not best of your health, but you can still work as an economist or researcher in some macroeconomic research company, or at a hedge fund, at an asset management firm, or a consulting firm. My former professor is working at a consulting firm as a economist, chief economist. So that's also quite amazing, because for that kind of a role you need a research degree, um, and preferably a PhD. So that's why I'm contemplating doing a PhD. Um, I've heard many um, suggestions from my colleagues where with who I have discussed these things. One suggestion is that don't have too much of expectation that it will add a lot to your career growth and whatnot. I think have list of the expectations. I think that's always good. I think anything in life. And the second thing is that make sure you're not burnt out. You're not overworking, because if you're working a lot, it can hamper your health. So be careful about that. So uh, take a topic that you are really interested in, and something that is that really makes you uh, read more and think about it more, and not just follow the trend and just do your research on a trendy topic. So that's something I don't want to do. I really want to do something that I'm interested in. It should be a more light-hearted topic, should not be a very heavy quantitative type topic. It should be a bit light-hearted. Okay, so that's my view. I mean, if you have time, yeah, you may go for it. There are not many universities around the world that provide part-time PhDs, but if you are in countries where there are such facilities, you could think about going for part-time PhD. In India, some of the IIMs are providing part-time PhD for industry professionals. Some people have managed to move from industry to academia after doing a part-time PhD. I have come across some in India. In Europe, actually, there are not many universities that provide part-time PhD programs. There are some, but not a lot. Yeah, but I think in most countries you won't find many universities uh, providing such facilities. Okay, but this is all about finance, by the way. In some other fields, maybe it's quite possible. I don't know. I can't comment on that. But this is what I can share about what I've experienced in the field of finance. Is it going to be fun if you do it? Well, I haven't done it yet, but I think it will be fun if you read a lot about a given topic that you are interested in and write about it. Why not? It should be a lot of fun, right? It's a commitment of at least 4 to 5 years. Also, remember that for part-time PhD, you have to pay. You won't get stipends, unlike in full-time PhD where you get paid to do a PhD. To do a part-time PhD, it's the other way around. You have to pay, and in Europe, it will cost about 40,000 or 50,000 euro in total. In India, probably it's about 10-15 lakhs, if I'm not wrong, right? So you have to also think about that, whether that's worth the money or not. All right, that's something I wanted to share. Any questions? As always, let me know.